Erikson's first stage of psychosocial development is called trust versus mistrust. It begins at birth and continues through the first year or two of life. At this stage, the child is not yet trying to become independent, achieve, compete, or understand the world intellectually. The child's main developmental task is much more basic. Can I rely on the people around me? Is the world safe enough for me to exist in? Will someone respond when I need help? In this stage, the caregiver plays a central role. This may be a parent, grandparent, foster carer, early childhood educator, or any consistent adult who provides emotional and physical care. The infant is completely dependent on others for feeding, comfort, warmth, protection, sleep regulation, and emotional soothing. Because the infant cannot meet these needs alone, the caregiver becomes the child's first experience of the world. When a caregiver responds with warmth, consistency, and sensitivity, the child begins to develop a basic sense of trust. This does not mean the caregiver must be perfect. No caregiver can respond perfectly every time. What matters is that most of the time, the child experiences care as reliable. When the child cries, someone usually comes. When the child is distressed, someone usually comforts them. When the child is hungry, cold, frightened, or overstimulated, someone notices and responds. This early trust becomes part of the child's emotional foundation. It can influence how the child later approaches relationships, learning, stress, separation, and uncertainty. A child who develops basic trust is more likely to explore the world because they have experienced safety first. They can gradually move away from the caregiver because they have internalized some confidence that support exists. In simple terms, early emotional security helps the child become more open to life. But when a caregiver repeatedly fails to meet the child's needs, the opposite pattern can develop. If the child is ignored, neglected, frightened, harshly treated, emotionally rejected, or exposed to unpredictable care, the child may begin to experience the world as unsafe. This can contribute to mistrust. Mistrust does not mean the child consciously decides not to trust people. It is deeper than that. It can become an emotional expectation. Closeness may feel uncertain, needs may feel dangerous to express, and the child may become more anxious, withdrawn, clingy, guarded, or difficult to soothe. Later in life, this may show up in relationships, emotional regulation, self-worth, stress responses, and the ability to rely on others. The long-term impact can be significant because the first stage of development occurs while the brain and nervous system are rapidly developing. Early caregiving experiences help shape the child's stress regulation system. Consistent care teaches the body that distress can rise and then settle. However, Erikson's theory should not be read as a life sentence. A difficult start does not permanently destroy a person's future. Human development remains open to repair. Later relationships, therapy, stable environments, responsive teachers, mentors, and emotionally safe communities can help rebuild trust. But early caregiving matters because it gives the child either a stronger or weaker starting point. The central message of this stage is clear. Infants do not only need food, clothing, and shelter, they need emotional reliability. They need adults who notice them, respond to them, comfort them, and protect them. Love at this stage is not abstract. Love is repeated through care, being held, being fed, being soothed, being spoken to gently, being kept safe, and being responded to when distressed. Caregivers should respond to infants consistently and warmly, especially when the child is crying, frightened, tired, hungry, or overwhelmed. They should not see infant distress as manipulation. At this stage, crying is communication. Caregivers should create predictable routines around feeding, sleep, comfort, and separation. They should provide touch, eye contact, gentle voice, and emotional presence. When caregivers are overwhelmed, they should seek support early, rather than allowing stress, depression, conflict, or exhaustion to damage the caregiving relationship. Most importantly, caregivers should understand that the first years of life are not simply about keeping a child alive. They are about helping the child feel that life is safe enough to trust.